Greetings, comrades. This is Caleb back with another unboxing video. And a few days ago, I mentioned that I had another package coming in, probably one of the more controversial purchases, at least as far as video games concerned. And well, I'll show you why. Because this is a console I've been contemplating getting for a while, because I want to get back into like retro games like the NES, Super NES, maybe the Sega Genesis. And I've heard mixed things about this console, at least when it first came out, but I heard it's gotten a lot better over time. And that is the Hyperkin Retron 5. Let's wave the camera up a little bit so you can see a little better. Yep. The Retron 5, the Hyperbeat edition, which has this nice retro-looking color scheme here. Now, for those who don't know, the Retron 5 originally came out way back in 2014 under a more simpler color scheme. But it's basically a retro multi-console. You can play NES, Famicom, Super NES, Super Famicom, Genesis, Mega Drive, Game Boy games, and even like Sega Master System games and Game Gear games. You have a special adapter, which I don't plan on getting because I don't play either of those games. But anyway, the Retron 5 is basically a retro console where you can play your retro games in HD, 720p, that's something to keep in mind. And what's interesting, the original Retron 5 came out with just this controller, which is considered by many to be one of the worst packaging controllers ever, because it's just not comfortable with holding the hands. The button placement's a little weird, even though it uses micro switches and a nice looking little thumbstick. It's just not very comfortable to hold, so just shaped it to fit in the back of the console there. But at least with the Hyperbeat edition, it now comes with one of their Hyperkin Scout controllers, which is a Super NES controller. And it's compatible with the original controllers for the NES, SNES, and Genesis. And pretty much any controller that will fit in there will work. Though multi-adapters, like the NES Advantage, or NES Satellite I should say, won't work on that because of the way the control ports are placed on opposite sides instead of like being next to each other. So certain add-ons won't work on this, so it's something to keep in mind. Anyway, it pretty shows you how many ports I have: 2 for the Genesis, 2 for the NES, and 2 for the SNES. Multiple system compatibility, wireless controller, high definition output, audio video enhancement, graphical user interface, and original controller ports. Now, I'll read the back first. So, Retro Reloaded. The Retron 5 brings retro gaming to the HD era. Play your classic cartridges like never before, with enhanced graphics and sound, screenshot capability, and save anywhere capabilities. Multi-system compatibility. The Retron 5 is compatible with your favorite NES, Super NES, Super Famicom, Genesis, Mega Drive, Famicom, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games on one system. It's also compatible with Sega Master System games with the use of the Retron 5 3-in-1 adapter or the power base converter. So yeah, you can use the original power base converter for the Genesis to play Sega Master System games on here, which is really cool. Graphical user interface, a brand new GUI menu that gives access to features and the ability to customize your entire game experience on the screen. High definition output, the HD output upconverts the signal to your HD to the maximum output resolution of 720p. Save and load states, all this stuff. Video audio enhancement, cheats, pre-built cheats that can be accessed at any point during gameplay for most games. Heard they're a little hard to set up though. Wireless controller, wireless technology, and has a range of up to 30 feet. Features micro switch directional pad, 2 programmable macro buttons, and a home button for quick in-game access to features. And includes a wireless wired controller, the Scout. Now, Scout's the NES, Super NES controller. They also released the Cadet, which is their NES controller, and the Squire, which is their Genesis controller. They're not included on here, but you can buy them separately. They're like $20-30 bucks. Original control ports and compatibility. It will play both PAL and NTSC games. CSC lockout chips and FX chips are no longer going to be an issue as we aim to achieve 100% compatibility with all cartridges. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind with this console. For one, it's only HDMI output. There's no composite output, so you can't play light gun games on here. So if you want to use that, you want to go for their other consoles, the Retron 3, which has HDMI as well as composite output. And they released a ton of other Retron consoles, most of which also have composite output. But this is HDMI only, so something to keep in mind. Another thing to note is that the cartridge pins This console are really tight, and they require a little bit of force to pull them out. So that's something to keep in mind if you're concerned about the quality of your carts and whatnot. And one rather controversial thing, this came out like a few years after this came out, is that it uses RetroArch, you know, a retro emulation interface, and they implemented it in the machine you charge for, whereas RetroArch is open source and free. And yeah, they got quite a bit of flack for that, but they still sell these, and they had this new Hyper edition for a few years now, and I heard it's gotten better over time with firmware upgrades, because, you know, it had a kind of a rocky launch, because one of the cool features is the battery save and load feature, where if you have like a cartridge with like a battery save feature, you can like take the save out of the cartridge and save it onto the console, where while you replace the battery, you can put that save back in, it'll work. But when it first came out, it didn't work properly. Not sure if it works now, you know, but something to keep in mind. And when it first came out, it wasn't compatible with certain games, like if you saw Pat the NES Punk's video a while back, it wouldn't work with Doom on the Super Nintendo, it wouldn't work with Arkanoid on the NES, and it wouldn't work with multi-carts or homebrews or anything like that. Supposedly, it works now, I'm not sure. I saw Rock Solid Productions cover this console a while back, and they have improved it quite a bit. So, I'm really curious, even though I really only have one NES game. You saw my little mystery box video, I got Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt, which naturally I only can play half of this cartridge, because again, this console doesn't support light guns, nor do I even have a light gun. But anyway, let's go ahead and take this bad boy out of the box. A little tape at the bottom here. Okay, thank you for your purchase. Your device recorded. Okay. Yeah, just a little note from the seller, Games America. There's a bunch of sellers on Amazon. That's where I got this from. Anyway, let's go ahead and see. We got the power cable. Interesting, a mini USB port here. And micro USB. Yeah, this uses micro USB, not Type C. So keep that in mind. Got a little HDMI cable. We got the power brick. So these are regular barrel connectors. So yeah, that should tell you the quality of, you know, the time frame of this console. We got a few different adapters for if you're overseas and you have, you know, different power adapters, whatnot. So keep in mind. Here's the packing controller, the wireless controller that it comes with, and yeah, I agree with all the criticisms. This is not a comfortable controller at all. Like I said, it's shaped to fit in the back of the console here, but they could have picked a better shape. But the reason they shaped it this way is the reason why the Genesis port's back here. This allows you to slot the power base converter, hence why it's shaped like that, and that's why I shape the controller like this. But the buttons feel nice, and there's little micro switches there, but you know, micro switches, you either love them or you hate them. There's no in between. Oh, those shoulder buttons are cheap though. Here are the macro buttons, select start home. Okay, again, micro USB, so yeah. And here is the Scout controller, the Super NES style controller. It feels pretty nice. You know, as a Super NES controller would be, though, it has like little grips on the bottom, so you can rest your middle fingers there a little better. This is a little nice to have. And Super NES style port, so you can use this in the original Super NES hardware, so that's really nice. And last but certainly not least, we have the console itself. Sorry, I'm still a little congested. You got your instruction manuals and stuff like that. Naturally, they fell over. Yeah, I've seen videos of this console before. Like I said, it's a pretty controversial console, but it has gotten better over the years. So we got a slot for Famicom, NES, Super NES, Genesis, and this is where you would mount the controller there, which, yeah, won't be using it that much. If that's said, I need to get an NES controller. It has nice little rubber booties to cover up the controller ports when I'm not using them, so that's nice. So anyway, might as well take a little copy of Super Mario and see how it fits in there. So on the top. How about a force it in? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a pretty tight fit. Let's see, okay, not that much force to pull out, at least for me, but it's always something to keep in mind. These cartridge pins are pretty tight, so keep that in mind. If you're really concerned about the quality of your cartridges, make sure they don't get damaged or anything. But yeah, let's set this up, see how it works, and this will be the first step on getting into retro gaming. Because I have quite a few retro game stores around town. I'll probably look around and see what kind of games I can find. There are a few. I mainly go to get games that I have nostalgia with. I'm not going to build a huge game room with every NES game ever made or anything like that. But I will try to find games that interest me and games I remember playing in the past. Like there's this one Super Nintendo game I remember playing called Firepower 2000. I'm looking forward to finding that. They have it on Amazon eBay actually. I might get a copy there. But anyway, it's gonna be off video. I'm gonna set this up, see how it works, and yeah, we'll see if this will kickstart my retro gaming craze. So anyway, this is Overgiving Caleb signing out. Have a good day.
Suck it up, life's tough, we know that. Someone's got better stuff and can throw cash. Tell them I don't give a fuck, make my own path. I don't need no handouts, I'm my own man. Gotta get it, I'll get it and fast, yeah. Got a girl and she'll get it, she bad, yeah. Man, I only get down with the best, I'ma leave the complaints with the rest,